All right. Welcome to your quick explanation of the week and how everything is going to go, as well as a few important announcements about the book. As you can see, I am here in Hogwarts because, it's magical and Hogwarts is inside of you, no matter where you go. Here is what you need to know about this. No, thank you to the lights. Oh, that was magic. Never mind, I don't want to talk about it. Here's what you need to know about the week. One, we're going to talk really quickly about the book. You hopefully by now have read the first 16 pages or listened to them. Again, as a reminder, you may listen to the videos I have. I insert some comments sometimes, so every once in a while I might actually make you listen to it because there are a few moments where I stop and talk about things that are important. At no point do you actually have to watch the videos. There's a really cute baby who's going to be in a couple of the ones I've recorded already. You do not have to watch the videos just to listen to them. There's also the PDF version on Moodle, so you have the option of, for most of them, listening unless I tell you you have to listen. You can listen or read the PDF or read your own version of the book. Any of those are totally fine. I'm not stressed about that at all. So here is, as if you haven't picked up on it, the premise of the book is there's the main character, Montag, who is a firefighter. But we all know by now that firefighters actually burn things rather than stop fires. In the case of this world, they go burn books because in this world, knowledge is a bad thing. The government wants to control what people know, and so they think that if people read books, then they will have more knowledge and more power, and thus they go burn all the books. So he is the main character. Hopefully you've picked up on that by now. You should know that there's a girl named Clarice by now. Somebody asked me if her family would be considered like dangerous or rebels. And the answer is not really. They're just kind of at this point odd. At some point, they might be considered rebels. This is what I meant by Hogwarts being inside of you all along. Oh, there it is. They are abnormal. They're probably somebody that people keep their eye on because they're so weird. They're not necessarily troublemakers at this point. But definitely there's something weird about that family. A few things I wanted to point out in case you didn't catch them as you were reading is on page 5. We have Clarice starting to ask a bunch of questions. She does this over and over and over. She asks a million questions. She asks, the bottom of page 5, do you ever read any of the books you burn? And he says that's against the law. So clearly he has never even thought about it. Why am I burning books? He doesn't think about the why behind things. He just does it. He doesn't even stop to read the books that are in front of him. But Clarice is thinking about these things all the time. She also calls him out on page 6 about how he laughs at her. She says, you laugh when I haven't been funny and you answer right off. You never stop to think what I've asked you. So if you listen to the video, you know that I think that's an important line, right? You never stop to think what I ask you. Because again, thought has been taken away from these people, basically. And so he doesn't really think about the things that are in front of him. And Clarice, this 17-year-old girl, is the first one to call him on that. The other big event that happened in these chapters, and also I'm not going to give you like a chapter review of every single time, but I do want to point out a couple of things and a couple of questions that I got. Is Mildred, yes, tries to kill herself. We think. We're not 100% sure if it's an accident or on purpose, but she takes enough sleeping pills that she almost dies. Which tells us something about our life, right? And we're going to kind of circle back to this later, but like she is so deeply unhappy that she takes all these pills to, at the very least, sleep for a very, very, very long time. Her husband, Montag, our main character, comes home and sees her. He worries. He calls basically the like EMTs, and they come and try to help her. And they say that it's not a big deal because they do 9 or 10 of these a night, which tells us something about the lives of these people. So that is a really important thing. She's going to pretend like everything is fine. She's going to say that she has no memory. She's going to say that she would never try to do this. There's something going on there, right? There is something about her life and their lives that is so empty and so sad. The last thing that I got a question about was that ear thimble that she always has. What that is simply like, it's like a radio transmitter so that she never has to engage in the real world at all. So not only are they thinking, not only do they think about questions or books or whatever, they are constantly distracted, which I think that some of us can probably relate to, right? She always has this headphone in because she never wants to be engaging in the world around her, which again shows us there's something going on with her. Great. So there are a few things about the book that you need to know. Here is what this week is going to look like. You, again, can listen to the recording that I made for you. You can find your own audio recording. You can read it as a PDF. I'll give a couple reminders throughout but that's your job. You are going to read pages, I think 17 through 37 today, so you're going to listen to that or read that. It's not a huge chunk. You will have a good chunk of time to do that on Monday. I want to talk very quickly, and this is the super important part, about the final creative project that you need to do. At the end of this book, you're not going to write a paper. You are, however, going to make a project that will end up being very important. You're going to do it creatively. We're going to talk more about the details of that later. I'm going to have an example up by Wednesday of what I want you to do for that. But what you need to know is right now, at the very beginning of the book, you need to start asking yourself, what is the major theme of Fahrenheit 451? Or what is the big question that you think this book is going to ask? You're going to need examples from throughout the book at the end of this. Again, it's not going to be a paper. I'll tell you more about it later. But you are going to need to prove to me in great detail why you think that that is the big question or the major theme from throughout the book. An example would be if I were reading The Hunger Games, which I assume that most of you have read or seen or know a little bit about. I could say something like, I think that this book is trying to show us the power that sacrifice has, right? Because I could give examples of how Katniss sacrifices her own life for her sister. We could talk about how Thresh and Rue kind of make sacrifices for Katniss. We could talk about how at the end, Katniss and Peeta are willing to sacrifice their lives because they realize that neither one of them wants to live without the other. You could also say that the big question that the Hunger Games is trying to ask is, what makes a life that is worth living, right? So you have even the people in the Capitol whose lives are very empty, but they think that they're living, but we on the outside could say no, that's not happiness. There's nothing about your life that is for other people or engaged in other people. And I think the book's trying to say what makes a life a valuable life, right? And I think that Katniss learns that over and over and over as she sees the people who are around her, as they make her life more living, as she invests in a relationship, as she sacrifices herself for other people. All of these things help her life become a more robust, fantastic life. So again, you're going to do that for Fahrenheit 451. You're going to ask yourself, what is the big question of this book? What is the major theme of the book? And you're going to want to start tracking it. You're going to want to start writing down quotes or characters or page numbers that you think help build on that theme or question. So you need to start doing that now. I will remind you of that throughout, but that is really your big overall job for the whole rest of the book. Be listening to that. There will be more videos this week. There will be more explanation this week. There are other things that you're going to do that I think will help you with that, but I wanted to give you intro to that project. So that is what you need to know for right now.